Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this historic occasion and on the visit of the French President to Carnegie Mellon University. It is a pleasure and an honor for me to introduce the President of France, François Mitterrand. France, through its World Center, and Carnegie Mellon University, through its computer operations, have been working closely together to increase computer literacy in France and in the third world countries. France, through the foresight of its president, has been a world leader in showing concern and taking action with respect to third world countries. François Mitterrand has been a staunch ally of the United States in security matters, and his help has been deeply appreciated by the administration. He was a leader in the French resistance movement in World War II, and he is also the author of 12 books. It is not surprising, therefore, that he understands well the difficulties of the third world countries in a world in which technology is becoming increasingly significant. The danger is that the world will divide even more sharply than it is today between the haves and the have-nots. Because of Carnegie Mellon University's preeminence in computer knowledge, and because of the innovative project to develop a computer network on campus, Carnegie Mellon has attracted the attention of countries all over the world. It was France, however, who saw this university as a potential ally in converting its population into a population with the skills that will be appropriate for the next decade. Approximately 1 year ago, I had an invitation from President Mitterrand to speak at a meeting of the heads of all French universities. At that meeting, I discussed the potential impact of a computer system of the type we are building at Carnegie Mellon University for all types of education. I emphasized the importance of the development of robotics and the relationship of computer literacy to economic development and the solving of the problem of the unemployed. President Mitterrand has since then developed an outstanding program to train the unemployed in France and to make them computer literate. He alone, among the leaders of major countries, understands the importance of computer literacy for the future of his country. The program in France should serve as a model for countries all around the world. But I want to speak about the close relationship between the French government and Carnegie Mellon University. To the best of my knowledge, this kind of relationship is unprecedented. The French government has understood better than any government throughout the world the long-run significance of what is being done on this campus. In turn, we have been able to gain significant knowledge about the problems of Western society from our close relationship with the French. Through the World Center, which is chaired by Jean-Jacques Servan-Schreiber, France and Carnegie Mellon University have become allies in a war on ignorance, and in the process, allies in a valiant effort to position all societies for the next decade. Just as the French government and the French people extended a hand to help our forefathers win the Revolution of 1776, so the Carnegie Mellon University faculty, administration, and students are extending to the French government and the French people help in winning the revolution of knowledge that will be required to exist in the next decade. We are proud to have the opportunity to be an ally of such a great country and such a great people. It is therefore a great honor for me to present to you the President of France.
Messieurs les présidents d'université,
Presidents,
et d'abord vous-même,
and first of all
Cher
yourself, my dear
qui
President,
évoquiez à l'instant nos
who were mentioning a
relations
moment ago
non pas
the
anciennes,
relationship, which isn't
mais
a very
tout de
ancient
même
relationship,
constante
but
depuis
is
le premier jour où nous nous sommes
already a
rencontrés.
very firm and staunch relationship since the very first day we met.
Je suis venu vous voir
And, well, I
pour
have come here
marquer
to see
notre
you
confiance
in
dans
order
l'œuvre
to
que nous avons engagée
show how
ensemble
confident
à
we
Paris.
are in the work that we started together in
Œuvre
Paris.
essentielle,
Now, this work is absolutely
celle de la
essential.
formation des hommes
It's the whole
par
question
les
of
moyens
training
les plus
people,
modernes
training men
que
and
nous
women by the
offre
most
maintenant
modern
la
methods
science.
that science places at our disposal.
Et comment ne pas venir dans cette université
And I think it is surely only
Mellon
natural to come to this university,
dès lors
Carnegie
que
Mellon,
l'on parle de science
as soon as one is talking about matters
au
of,
service de la
that relate to science,
formation
and science placed at
et
the
donc
disposal
de la
of training
transformation
individuals,
de
training
notre
people.
société.
In other words, that is the transformation of our
Mes
society.
concitoyens de France et d'Europe
My compatriots in France
ressentent
and
en
in
ce
Europe,
moment même combien
at
cette
this
tâche est
very
liée
moment,
à la
appreciate and
renaissance
understand
des
how very much
activités
this
et des
task is
emplois.
linked to the renaissance, the rebirth of
J'ai
activities and
déjà
employments and
connu
jobs.
Pittsburgh.
Now, I've already been to Pittsburgh.
La dernière fois, c'était
The
quand
last
même il y
time,
a 18 ans.
well, it was 18 years ago.
Et j'ai pu apprendre
And
la crise vécue
I
par
was
cette
able,
ville
well, I'm able
puissante
to appreciate and
et
understand the sort
marquée
of
par l'industrie
great
lourde.
difficulties, the crisis that this
Et
big and
qui eut
powerful city has had to
quelques
go
peines à
through
traverser la
with
crise.
the very heavy industry,
Qui
and
ont connu
naturally
les
it's
graves
difficult
dommages, parfois les désespoirs.
for such industries in
Avant
times
que
of crisis
les
where there have
équipes
been moments of
choisies
great difficulty and
par le
tragedy
peuple
and despair before the
puissent
leaders
décider
chosen by the
la
people
renaissance.
should have really been able to decide upon the
Ce que l'on
renaissance.
voit dans Pittsburgh
Now
et
what we
sa
can
région,
see in Pittsburgh and in
c'est aussi la
the
crise
region
même de
is
tant de
the
régions d'Europe.
same crisis, the same problem that you will find
Des
in many
aciéries
parts of Europe.
essoufflées, des mines
You
de
will
charbon
find
qui ferment,
steelworks in
des
difficulties,
usines
coal
de
mines
textiles
closing
et de
down,
chimie qui traînent.
textile and chemical plants that are
Le
lagging
paysage
behind.
industriel,
The industrial
des
scene,
difficultés
in
que
other
nous avons
words,
nous-mêmes
of the
en
difficulties
Europe,
that beset
pas seulement
ourselves
la
also
France,
in Europe, and not only
à
France.
surmonter,
There are difficulties that we
comme
must
vous avez
overcome,
commencé
as
brillamment
you
de le
have
faire.
admirably begun to do so yourself.
Et je sais les efforts
And I know
accomplis
the efforts that have been made,
aussi bien par les responsables
both
de
by
cette
the
ville
people in
avec
government
l'appui
responsible for the
fédéral.
city, with federal support.
Je pense en particulier à
And I have in
l'activité de
mind
Monsieur le
particularly
maire de
the activity
Pittsburgh,
of the mayor of Pittsburgh,
si étroitement
which
reliée
is
aux
so
travaux
activities so
universitaires
closely
dont nous
related
allons
precisely
parler
to the
maintenant.
university work that we'll be
Votre
talking about
région
now.
est sinistrée,
Now, your region has been hard
marquée
hit,
il y a 3 ans encore d'un
and
taux de chômage de
even
près
only
de
3 years ago,
20%.
there was an unemployment rate running at about 20%.
Et la renaissance dont je parle
And the
elle est
rebirth that
venue de
I've
vos
been
efforts
mentioning
de
has sprung from your
modernisation,
efforts,
d'invention, à
modernization,
partir de nouveaux
inventiveness
moyens
on the basis
d'enseignement, de
of
recherche,
new
de
methods of
formation,
teaching, new methods of
ceux
research,
que vous
new
avez
methods
mis
of training,
en œuvre ici.
precisely what you have developed here.
Et vous avez diminué le
And
chômage
you have
d'un
reduced
tiers et vous
unemployment by
continuez
1/3,
de
and you are
progresser.
continuing
Et vous mettez de nouveaux
in this line of
outils
progress, and you are
scientifiques
placing new scientific
à la
instruments
disposition
at the
des
disposal
hommes pour les équiper,
of individuals, of people,
en
in order
vérité
to equip
pour les
them.
sauver
In fact, in order to
face
save
à la
them
montée
in the face
si difficilement surmontable
of
de la
the
modernisation par les robots.
development, which is
Voilà,
so
en tout
difficult
cas,
to
qui nous
control,
concerne
of
tous.
modernization by robots. Now, that is something
Vous le
that
rappeliez
is
à l'instant,
of great concern to all of
Monsieur
us.
le
You
Président
were
de
calling
Carnegie
a
Mellon,
moment ago,
lorsque vous êtes venu à
President,
Paris
when
avec vos
you
collègues
came to Paris with your
pour
colleagues
nos journées
for
studieuses
study days
avec les responsables des grandes écoles et
with
des universités de
the
France.
leaders of the French
Vous nous aviez fait
universities
part
and the
de
grandes
projets
écoles.
ambitieux.
You told us of ambitious
Et
projects.
nous avions décidé d'unir
And
nos efforts
we
pour le
decided then to
développement
join our
de
efforts
toutes
for the
les
development
compétences,
of
de
all
toutes
the
les
abilities, of all
aptitudes
the
de chaque individu
aptitudes of
afin de
each and every
tirer
individual in
de la
order
révolution technicienne
to derive from the
économie
technological
enfin
revolution an
féconde.
economic situation
et
which at last
bienfaisante.
would be fruitful and beneficial.
Et nous sommes au cœur
And
du
we're
problème
here at the very
essentiel
heart of the essential, basic problem. Will we at last be able to place the power of these new instruments of science at the disposal of individual human capabilities and the redeployment of the activities of man? Everyone is striving to find an answer to that question. A question which exists, I think, in all parts of the industrial world. And the rest of the world, the developing world, if we had the answer to the question, would be able to save so much trial and error. The intensive and very remarkable cultivation of the abilities, human competence to which you are harnessing technological progress, I think is precisely that answer. It is the answer. It is the way to prevent the danger of the dislocation of society, which inevitably will be the result of the scientific revolution. If in fact everything is geared to the machines, we're misguided enough to do that. And everything that we must do must begin there, and this is what is urgent. Now, you were talking about bold and ambitious projects when you were with us in Paris, and you are now placed a personal computer, a powerful personal computer, at the disposal of each student in all disciplines, in the literary, social sciences, and scientific fields, and you link up all these multipliers of knowledge to the best data banks. And then you extend such progress, you take it even further by association with universities and high-tech industries in the area and in the whole country in order to bring about the deployment of these creative activities that I was talking about. And I would also like to greet here, alongside you, the presidents and chancellors of universities, other universities, who are in fact devoting with you great energies to this passionate activity and endeavor, which is the development of the real resource of our times, the true riches of our time, the new motor of history, the very basic of dynamic growth. And you said during our meeting, and I quote, our goal by setting up individualized, computerized networks for teaching is to enable each student and later each adult to concentrate on design, conception, solution, and invention instead of having to deal with the automatic and passive tasks, the ultimate goal being creation. And the purpose is to invent. And the ultimate aim, as I say, is creation at all levels and accessible to all. Now, as you say, each man, each woman, in order to find their place and calling in the new industrial area, as everyone will need to be trained, will need to have access to this computer culture, which will educate to all walks of life, even the most traditional callings, which also must strive to achieve perfection. And in order to achieve all this, it is true, I have adopted the proposal to establish an association via the World Center of the Grandes Écoles and the French universities in order to work with you, have a reciprocal exchange and to move forward together. The basic orientation of France has been decided upon, and that basic orientation is what is at all times behind our efforts, our changes, our long-term policies, and that is what people have called the French design, the French project. We find that very flattering. And what it means is simply this. After having noted that technological change is taking place fast, and that labor conditions and production is changing too, but all right, you say that, but that means nothing. If you have not understood that it is the fact that men are not adapted to all this that is ultimately the true obstacle.
nous n'éviterons une nouvelle domination de
Now,
la
to avoid a
machine
new
sur l'homme,
domination
comme ce fut le cas au
by the
lendemain de
machine
la révolution de la
over man,
vapeur,
which was the case
fin
after the steam
18e et
revolution at the end of the
19e,
18th
comme
and the
ce
beginning
fut
of the
le cas
19th
avec la
century, and
révolution de
that was the
l'électricité,
case with the
fin 19e,
electricity
début
revolution at the end of the 19th
20e,
and beginning of the 20th
organisant la
century. We
domination
can only
de l'homme
avoid
sur la
that
machine.
by
Elle est
organizing,
faite
by enabling
pour
man to
cela.
dominate the machine,
Elle se
because that is
substitue
why the
aux
machine is
muscles de
invented,
l'homme.
surely.
Elle se
The machine is to
substitue
develop,
aujourd'hui à
is
sa
simply to,
mémoire et à son
well, used to take the place of
Elle
man's
peut
muscle.
se
And
substituer à lui dans ses
the
facultés
machine
créatrices.
can take the place of
Votre
man
expérience
in calculation
nous aide
and can take the
à
place
en préciser
of
les
man
moyens.
in creation. And your
Et pourquoi ne pas
creativeness
commencer en
and
effet par ce
your
qu'il y a de
work is
plus
helping us to
actuel?
show how. So why not start with what
J'aperçois
at present
bien que la
is the
culture
most urgent
informatique
problem. Now, I
est à la
appreciate
base de
that computer
tout dans
literacy
l'éducation.
is the
Le
very
savoir,
basis of everything
où
in
que l'on se
education.
tourne.
Because knowledge, wherever
De
you go,
même, j'ai cité
wherever you
cet
turn,
exemple que l'on avait
this is
besoin
true.
de la vapeur ou de
and
l'eau.
just as I mentioned that, well, steam
même
and
que l'on a
water
eu besoin de
used to be necessary and then
l'électricité,
electricity became necessary
passe
for everything,
aujourd'hui
well,
par la
now
connaissance
everything
des
requires
techniques de
knowledge
l'informatique.
of computer technologies.
C'est la discipline commune.
And that is the sort of
C'est par là,
common
je
discipline.
le répète, qu'il faut se
And it
diriger.
is in that
Ce n'est pas la
direction that we should
réponse
move.
à tout.
It isn't the answer to everything,
Et
mind
ce
you.
n'est pas la fin de tout.
Nor is it
C'est le passage
the ultimate
nécessaire.
end of everything, but it is a
Et notre
necessary
jeunesse,
route that we must
plus
follow.
vite que d'autres,
And
s'en est
young
déjà
people in our
convaincus.
country, faster than others, have already
j'espère qu'elle y
become
entraînera
entirely
les
convinced of
autres.
this, and I hope that they will
Et pendant que vous
carry on their
avanciez
momentum
dans
the rest
cette
of
mise en place de
society.
votre
And
consortium
while you are moving
interuniversitaire,
forward in the setting up of your inter-university
multipliant
consortium,
les échanges et
multiplying
les
exchanges
réseaux,
and networks,
nous avons de notre
we have on our
côté
side,
fait progresser un par un
one by one,
les projets qui en
moved
sont le
forward
complément.
the various projects which are
Nous, en
complementary
France.
to them, we in France.
Nous avons multiplié
France,
nos
we have,
programmes d'action vers la diffusion populaire de la
Greatly
culture
increased the number
informatique,
of action programs for
avec de mois en mois
popular
des
diffusion of
résultats encourageants.
computer
y
literacy.
compris et
Each month
surtout
we
parmi les
find
moins
encouraging results,
avantagés, les
particularly
moins bien
among the lesser
préparés
well-off
à ces
people,
nouveaux
the people
métiers,
who at first sight
et
are
dans
the
toutes les
least
classes de la société.
prepared for these new jobs
Ainsi,
and new activities. And this is true in all
le
classes
programme
of society.
qui permettent aux jeunes
And
étudiants
for
français
example, we have
diplômés
a
de
program
notre
under
enseignement
which
supérieur
the young graduate
d'être
students
volontaires durant leur
can,
service
during their
militaire
conscription, their
pour
military
devenir
service, which is
formateurs
compulsory for everyone,
de la
they can
culture
volunteer,
informatique des
and they can
jeunes
volunteer to
chômeurs
be,
18
well,
à
to
25
train
ans
young unemployed
s'exécutent
men and women
ils
aged 18 to 20.
en
And they
ce
train
moment
them
même dans les régions
in
françaises
computers.
sur
And
des
this is
centaines de
precisely what
sites
they're
de
doing right
formation.
now. There are
Des
this
milliers
is
de
going
jeunes
on.
chômeurs
And at
sont
present,
initiés à la
hundreds
culture
of young
informatique
unemployed in
par
various
des
parts of the
diplômés
country
de leur
are
âge.
learning the
Et l'on
beginnings
voit
of
surgir une
computer
solidarité
literacy
de
by
génération entre
these
les plus
young
privilégiés
graduate
et
students
les
who
plus
have done
démunis,
who are doing their military service.
préfaçant le
And so
devenir de
we
notre
find that there
époque
is really real solidarity
celle du partage
between the
du
haves and the
savoir.
have-nots, if you like, and this is precisely
Notre
what
deuxième effort
how
a
the future
été
should
de
be built
décentraliser le potentiel
on
de
sharing
formation
knowledge.
et
Our second effort has
d'apprentissage
been to
de notre
decentralize
centre de Paris
our training and learning
vers,
centers.
je le disais à
We had
l'instant,
the Paris
les
Center, and
autres
we're
régions
spreading
du
this
pays.
out to the other regions
Et
of
ce
the
réseau se
country.
déploie,
And this network is
chaque
being
capitale
deployed
régionale
right now, and each
décentralise
regional
à son
capital
tour.
of France
Nous
is
sommes
also
loin de
decentralizing. Mind you, we're far
Mais
from having
voyez les progrès.
reached the end of the road, but you see that
Nous
well, I'm
avons
giving you a progress
remodelé
report.
l'organisation de la France.
We
qui
have
était depuis-
fundamentally
qui
changed
était
the
restée depuis le
organization of the country, because for 2
entièrement
centuries France had
centralisée sur
remained
Paris.
an entirely centralized
Le
country.
Parlement
Everything
français
happened
a
in
voté
Paris,
des
everything
lois
was decided
de
in Paris.
régionalisation,
But
de
recently the French Parliament has adopted
qui confie de
decentralization,
larges pouvoirs et de
regionalization
grandes
legislation,
compétences aux
which
élus locaux.
gives considerable
Et ces
authority
nouveaux
and
pouvoirs,
powers to
Ils
local
ont commencé,
authorities, local
parfois avec
elected officials.
ferveur,
And
de s'équiper
these
en outils
local
informatiques,
authorities have
créer des centres
begun with great energy to
d'apprentissage,
do something about
financer
learning
des
centers, computer
ateliers de
centers,
pratique
computer training
informatique
centers, computer
qui doivent
workshops,
être ouverts à
things
tous,
which must be
du
open to
matin au
everyone
soir,
all day
ville
long.
par ville
And
et
this kind of
quartier
thing must
par
exist in
quartier.
all cities and in all districts of the
De la
cities.
sorte, la
And in this
France,
way,
dans chacune de
France,
ses cellules sociales,
in each and all the
doit
parts
pouvoir
of
se
the French
brancher sur
society
des réservoirs
must be
de
able
connaissances
to tap
et sur
reservoirs of
l'ensemble du monde
knowledge,
extérieur.
funds of knowledge, and also the whole of what the outside world has to contribute to. Already told us about the tremendous enthusiasm of youth when they find that there are unlimited possibilities for the exploration and development of their talents. And there are so many new things are possible and can be done, and it is that great drive and enthusiasm which is the very special feature, as I have found and many visitors have found here in Carnegie Mellon. A third major program was launched, and that is to give new life to increase the efficiency of new industrial sectors by the second generation of computer science. And this is a field where the effects can be absolutely unlimited. Now, after training, then, that's the first area, we're tackling the medical health area and agriculture. And we're equipping our main laboratories in the field of agronomists and in the medical field with most modern research equipment. Our work is coordinated by people who accompany here. And we have established precise goals to be achieved by 84, 95 concerning expert systems that can be put to industrial applications. And I have personally followed the setting up of all this, because this can lead to further resources and jobs, and I'm also keeping an eye on the actual schedule of the applications. Because the outlets are so enormous and the possibilities, the economic impact will be so enormous, that I've asked our teams, because of the scope of the task to be carried out, I want them to associate themselves as closely as possible with French industry, and also this is only natural, the great universities and laboratories in the world who here and elsewhere, particularly in Japan, are engaged in the same action. So this would be a sort of universal chain of transfer of knowledge. That is something that is within our grasp. And if we really persevere in this without wasting any time, this chain will, step by step, encompass all the populations of the planet. And I think this will happen quicker than people think. Because don't think that I'm sort of pipe dreaming for the future. This is something that has actually started. But we have to start where we are. This is what you've done yourself. 2 days from now I will be in France, and that is my workshop. And I can assure you, all those who want to give a hand, and there are many of them, I can assure you, it is my firm resolve to tackle this renaissance of my own country. And a great French economist, Professor François Mitterrand, and he was talking as a scientist, confirms what we sort of feel intuitively. He said that the greatest cause, the greatest issue today is the whole question of the human resource. It encompasses all of us. It brings people together in order to develop the most advanced production apparatus. The development of grey matter is necessary, more necessary than it has ever been in the past. Information science, data processing will be the base of this. So this is a fundamental change in the very concept of what our economies are, because this will really be a question of training men by men, and by developing the resources that each individual can have access to. End of quotation. Now, I don't want to paraphrase this because it has been well put, but the reason of our efforts and our confidence in the future lies in precisely that capacity to allow, the capability of allowing each man and woman to achieve fulfillment of his and her talents and ability. And up to now, the organization of society and the domination of economic forces has never made this possible. Now it is possible. So what we must do is to, where we are, do our job day after day, relentlessly, because now we know where we're going and we know that there is no other way of getting there. Lastly, I would like to ask you to share with me certain thoughts about the future of our task, of our work, before I accomplish a gesture which will come to later, which will embody our hopes and our gratitude. But the thoughts I want to share with you is this. I think that we should recall the speech made at Harvard by General George Marshall about 40 years ago. In a few simply worded paragraphs, but with tremendous impact, the American statesman was making some remarks about the state of the world. This was General Marshall 40 years ago, and he suggested that one should perhaps act in terms of a new vision of nation-to-nation relationships. And from such remarks was to come a few months later the plan, as well known. And for the countries concerned, that led to nearly 30 years of unprecedented growth and very remarkable progress, and here and there, depending on what local leaders wanted to do, there were some areas of social harmony. I'm talking about the Marshall Plan. All right, but the Marshall Plan is something that belonged to other times. It's not a question of just imitating it, but as at that historical moment at the end of the Second World War, let us have the courage to have a new approach, to have a new look at things. The horizon 50 years ago was that of the developed world in the northern hemisphere, with the frontiers of the industrialized countries. The awareness of the existence of billions of men that later the third world is the term that would be used for that. This kind of concept wasn't felt yet by Western thought. And this was a tremendous shortcoming. And the result of that shortcoming is then that gap at the beginning of the 70s, the first cracks in growth, and this really suddenly became much worse because of the social trauma caused by a technological revolution, unprecedented, which hadn't been foreseen nor prepared for. And there was indifference. This absence of farsightedness, this indifference to the fate of men has caused havoc with the populations of our countries, unemployment of millions of men and women, all of a sudden dequalified, with inadequate skills. In the face of external markets which were sterilized, indebted, people who were hungry, and the markets, one after the other, closed themselves up, and making our own problems worse, and multiplying the victims in their own societies. Now, this prospect is not, we can't accept this. So we must really, on a global scale, we must really start working on a tremendous activity for transferring knowledge, so that the creative knowledge be genuinely shared, that it should spread. That is more important than financial assistance. We know that financial aid is necessary, but we know that that can have many illusions and little limits to what you can do. There must be transfer of knowledge from generation to generation, social category to social category, culture to culture, continent to continent. I think that our compatriots are aware of this, and the other peoples who have lost their bearings are waiting for this. Like when you're hungry, you wait for bread or millet or rice. It is life that people are stretching their arms out for. It is important that everyone should be capable to create, to work. And for this, solidarity is vital. And ultimately, this is what will give back the taste of life to so many men who have lost it in the world. And that is surely a great generation. And like other generations, we will only reach the end of perhaps the first stage, and many, many others afterwards will have to continue the work. But at least it is surely worthwhile to devote one's own life span to such a project. And now I would like to accomplish a symbolic act. With all this in mind, one of your number, Mr. President, gives us a very remarkable example. Every month he comes to the right time to our students, to our teams working in France, and I think he is an admirable illustration of that passionate desire to transfer knowledge, and that our task is indeed a universal one. And that is why, in a moment, I will award this is exceptional circumstance. I would award also to recognize the great contribution of your university. So I will bestow the Legion of Honor, the highest distinction, Professor Raj Reddy, and I'd be very happy, I presume that you can hear him, Professor Raj Reddy. I saw him a moment ago, so I'm sure that he'll be able to come up to the rostrum. I will bestow the Legion of Honor, the highest French decoration.
Fils d'une famille de paysans de Madras,
son of a family of peasants of Madras, who have raised himself by his gifts and nothing else, and his willpower to the very heights of science. Director of the Institute of Robotics at Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh, and since last year scientific director of the World Center in Paris. A tireless builder of networks of knowledge, and the Republic of France wishes to express the gratitude of the people, but beyond Raj Reddy, it is to many others, ladies and gentlemen, in this room and outside, that I am addressing myself, and to you in particular, Mr. President, whose personal contribution can only be assessed and expressed in terms of friendship and admiration. One professor, among others, and this one is our special friend. That is why he will represent many others in this ceremony that we wanted to carry out for him and for you. Raj Reddy, I bestow upon you the Knighthood of the Legion of Honor.
Mr. President, we want to thank you very much for your act, for your words. I'd like to now call upon Professor Reddy to respond.
I'm overwhelmed by this unexpected honor. Of all the awards that one might receive, the idea behind this one makes me very happy. It is fantastic that a leader of the world has chosen to make a major policy statement about the potential impact of the scientific revolution that is engulfing us, and has the courage to ask not merely how can it help the economy, but rather how can it help the people. It is also natural that the leader with this vision is the leader of the country which is the birthplace of other humanistic concepts, such as liberty, equality, and fraternity. It is this vision and compassion of President François Mitterrand and his friend Jean-Jacques Servan-Schreiber that has led me to this cooperation between France and Carnegie Mellon University. Here at Carnegie Mellon University, we are engaged in creation and communication of knowledge, but rarely pause to ask how this knowledge can help people. A few years ago, we heard the reports of the so-called North-South dialogue between the rich and poor countries of the world and demands for transfer of wealth and technology. However well-intentioned, many of these ideas were hollow, impractical, and unlikely to succeed. When I received an invitation from President Mitterrand to attend the formal establishment of the World Center for Computer Science and Human Resource in Paris, I was more hopeful. After many discussions with Jean-Jacques Servan-Schreiber and other colleagues, I came to understand the full spectrum of possibilities. The foundations of these discussions were the two powerful ideas put forward by President Mitterrand. First, the concept of technology in the service of human resource. Second, the concept of knowledge sharing. Knowledge has an important property. When you give it, you have not lost it. Sharing of knowledge is the first and most important step in uplifting of the developing countries. This is best understood by the example of Japan. Here is a nation with no other resource than the human resource, and yet it dominates the industrial scene today. One cannot but speculate whether other nations languishing in poverty today, in spite of their immense natural resources, do so because of the lack of the essential ingredients of knowledge, know-how, and literacy. The current technological revolution provides a new hope and new understanding for the world. The computer and communication technologies make it possible for rapid and inexpensive sharing of knowledge. This technological progress will make the global electronic village possible by the end of this decade. The work of the World Center is focused to take advantage of these technologies. We have identified education and training, health and hygiene, food and agriculture as the basic areas for helping the poor and the disadvantaged of the world. These choices were forged through the active participation and approval of the President of France. This is what makes this whole enterprise a fountain of hope for the future, and I'm happy to be part of it. Most of us can only achieve what our environment permits us to do. It has been my good fortune to be part of a supportive environment. The Computer Science Department and the Robotics Institute here provide such an environment with brilliant colleagues and students, especially Alan Newell, who has always encouraged me to think the impossible. I am fortunate to be part of a university with the visionary leadership of President Cyert, whose approval has made it possible for me to undertake this project in France. I am grateful to my adopted country, a nation of immigrants, which provides the freedom to think and the opportunity to excel. I am proud of my Indian legacy. Little did I know, when I was learning the alphabet by tracing the letters in sand, that one day I would be working with a dreamlike technology which would revolutionize the very concept of learning and literacy. It is a pleasure to live in the city of Pittsburgh with my wife and children. Their love and support and understanding has given me the strength to pursue my work. Finally, Mr. President, I want to thank you and France for bestowing this honor on all of us at Carnegie Mellon University. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raj. Mr. President, we would like you to have a remembrance of this day, which I hope will, will be as historic as the day that General Marshall launched the original Marshall Plan. We would like to have present you with two paintings which have been done on the computer by one of our outstanding computer artists, Harry Holland. These have been done on the computer. A photograph was then taken, and these have been framed for you. And we are very pleased to present them. Again, we would like very much to thank you for your visit here. We are deeply impressed with the words you have given us and for the inspiring talk that you have made. We hope that a return visit will occur again, and that at that point we will be able to celebrate some great accomplishments. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The picture is very fine. Wow, very good.
We would like everyone to remain seated until the President and his delegation have left the hall.